Is it legal?
That's not.
I can't opine on the legality or illegality of that.
No, you have to know. No,
You have to
you
know.
can't
So
come here and say we don't
No,
know it's
so-
legal.
so-
This is the first time we are hearing that a cryptocurrency exchange has been set up at the port city. How many people have made applications to start businesses in this jurisdiction?
We've got the 7 applicants who've been authorized persons.
Who are these 7?
There are 7 companies, and we've got, as per the Act again, it is on our website because the Act calls for maintaining
We
a
want
register.
to know who the 7
Yeah,
companies
so
are.
if I can go through the names, one's called Bitaza International.
What do they do?
They're not operational yet, so none of these are operational yet.
That's fine, but
Yeah.
you have given them authorized person status.
Yes, correct. So they are looking at setting up a digital asset exchange.
Digital
Asset exchange.
What does that mean?
Digital assets, commonly known as cryptocurrencies. Yeah, an exchange to
So you're
facilitate.
setting up a cryptocurrency exchange at Port City.
That's what Bitaza is looking to do.
Hold on a second. So now central bank has approved this.
The central bank, there are no regulations issued by the central bank that bans or prohibits digital asset exchanges.
My question is slightly different. My question is, has a central bank given its concurrence to establish a cryptocurrency exchange on within the jurisdiction of the port city? That's the question. Because this is the first time we are hearing that a cryptocurrency exchange has been set up at the port city.
There is no provision within the regulations the central bank administers to approve cryptocurrency because they don't come under any of the regulations that are applicable or managed by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
So then who approved it?
The Commission has approved the...
So is it a financial, does it have a financial aspect to it, cryptocurrency? You know, if there is currently no regulation, then who has sort of assumed to
Be the authority.
be the authority?
Yeah.
I mean, should there be some sort of regulator? Because the way I understand any exchange, Mr. Vikramasuriya, there has to be a regulator for an exchange. Like you have a Colombo Stock Exchange, the Securities and Exchange Commission is a regulator. Because there are transactions that take place and, you know, there could be disputes and to settle them, to, you know, the multiple issues, right? To provide, avoid, you know, misuse of the exchange, various things, fraud. So my question then is slightly different. Under whose regulation will a cryptocurrency exchange be operationalized in the port city?
These cryptocurrency exchanges, right, will be opening, should they be allowed to, open bank accounts with the Sri Lankan banks. To do business, they have to actually have a bank account, right? So those bank accounts would be with commercial banks licensed under the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, right? So those banks would ensure that they are adhering, and as I pointed out earlier, all the AML and CFT regulations applicable to those transactions
We are
would
not talking only about AML, CFT,
Yep.
DST. If we remember correct, you know, when the act was approved, we made sure that there would be a regulatory authority, you know, looking at whatever that happens within the jurisdiction of this port city, 269 hectares. Right? So in that case, you know, this becomes sort of becomes a bit odd, or rather, you know, it's a misnomer. You know, how can you give the authority to establish this?
Section 64 of the CPEC Act is very clear, right, that unless otherwise specifically provided for in this Act, the powers, duties and functions vested in any regulatory authority by any written law, right, will stand. The question is, at the moment, right, is there a regulation or regulator, right, for cryptocurrency exchanges in Sri Lanka? So the answer to that is, at the moment, no, there isn't, right? So it is, they will do their business the day and the people we have licensed, right, as per our Act, sort of comes from businesses that they're doing in other jurisdictions. So there are actually two. One is out of Thailand, right? The other comes out of the UK, right? They have operations in those countries, and they're looking at setting up a regional, what they call a regional exchange to deal with the market here. At the moment, there isn't a regulator for that business in Sri Lanka that is specifically listed or identified.
And then UK, how they are regulated.
To a certain degree, yes. So there are the licenses.
Then we have to inform the central bank
and the AG's office.
About all these things.
Now, according to you, this cryptocurrency operation has to operate through a licensed commercial bank in Sri Lanka.
Correct.
So now, at the moment, we don't have any regulation passed permitting such operation. But
So-
at the,
Yeah.
is it? Yeah. But at the same time, you have given approval for this company to operate. So
Correct.
how can they practically operate?
So when you say a cryptocurrency exchange, approvals given is for people to buy and sell something on a digital asset, right?
Yeah.
Transact in foreign currency, not in Sri Lankan rupees, right?
Yeah.
So in Sri Lanka, as of now, there are various platforms. This is an online, a web-based platform. So even as of today, there are platforms that actually transact digital assets in Sri Lankan rupees.
Is it legal?
That's not.
I can't opine on the legality or illegality of that.
No, you
No,
have to
I mean,
know,
yeah.
no.
You have to know, I mean,
can't
So-
come here and
we
say
can-
we don't
No,
know
We
it's
so-
can
legal.
so-
permit
No, no.
only legalized operations within the country.
So what I can say is before we started this process, we went to two institutions, right?
Yeah.
We went to the SEC, right? And we went to the central bank. The central bank was very clear. Central bank said it is not illegal, right? They have issued public notices to make the public aware of the risks and potential downfalls of actually investing one's funds in digital assets. And I think they've, if I remember correctly, they've made about 4 public notices,
Yes.
right? The next body we went to, and again we asked them, and the central bank was clear, yes, when they do open a bank account, if there is fiat currencies moving through that, would they abide, they would need to abide by the extent FIU regulations. The next institution we went to, because they use the term is the SEC, right? The SEC Act clearly specifies that the regulations they come up with are related to securities, right? Cryptocurrencies are not defined as securities.
Can-
If someone wanted to buy or sell, that cryptocurrencies via this digital wallet or the
Website.
digital this thing, these people should go through the local banks to do that.
No, currently
Are
they are
you
not.
telling that?
If you're buying, so you can exchange one digital asset to another digital asset, right? So then it won't be a transaction that goes through a bank.
Exactly.
But if you are selling a digital asset into dollars,
Right.
those dollars would generally ultimately get cleared via a bank.
Or else you can invest or exchange things in Sri Lankan rupees.
No, not via the port city licensed entities. Whereas, however, there are websites at the moment.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So I think so. We have come in with the conditions that to ensure that, so if you're looking at the business that is currently happening in Sri Lanka, it is a bit more robust and there are checks and balances because the Commission has come in and laid out some guidelines which says that you cannot actually deal in Sri Lankan rupees. So there is a certain level of regulation that actually comes in, whereas others there are no regulation.
Central Bank website, and Mr. Vikramasuriya mentioned about risks which the public has been warned against, and I want to read that out, so we might have to look at this further. It says the public is reminded that cryptocurrencies are unregulated investment instruments which are not recognized as an asset class in Sri Lanka. Further, cryptocurrencies are not considered as legal tender in Sri Lanka and have no regulatory safeguards relating to their usage in the country. It goes on to say, the public is also warned of the growing number of financial scams operating with the promise of high returns based on crypto investments. Finally, CBSL strongly advises the public to safeguard their hard-earned money and not to invest or engage in any cryptocurrency scheme offered through the internet, other forms of media, or directly by any persons. Public is also notified that CBSL has not issued any license or authorized any individual or business to operate schemes involving cryptocurrency. So the practicality of the Commission giving its concurrence and approving a business which now engages in this, which the central bank has strongly advised against, I think is a matter that needs to be looked at.